Today we're gathering around the campfire with Anne-Marie, a QHS member whose life is as exciting and grounding as a hike through the mountains. But what trails did she tread to reach these heights? Let's trek into the wilderness and discover the adventures that led Anne-Marie to where she is today.
Hello, my name is Anne-Marie. I live in Denmark and I am in my late 60s. I was born and raised as the oldest of 6 children on a farm in the Bavarian Alps. When I was 19, I went to Canada, and the last 45 years I've lived in Denmark. And all about this later. How did I find out about QHS? I found out about medbed technology, energy centers with scalar waves, and other things from Simon Park, Alex Collier, and others. And then I thought the QHS system could help me. I have never had a life-threatening illness, but about 20 years ago I had knee surgery, and 15 years ago the doctor said, well, you need a knee replacement. I said no, thank you. I kept fit and active. I use ginger, turmeric, cayenne pepper, and as essential oils as painkillers. So 3 months ago, I got the V6 device, and I found out that especially when the pain comes in the night, when I move the device close to the knees, it really helps. And I thought, maybe I can get my cartilage back. There is no cartilage in my knees. Maybe my walking distance can be better again. Maybe stair walking can be easier again. And I haven't been able to sit down or squat down without having to use my hands as support. So that's my wish for QHS. But now to my backstory. And here comes my backstory. My mom and dad. My mother, she comes from Czechoslovakia. She and her family were refugees after World War II, where all the German-speaking people had to leave Czechoslovakia. My mom's father was still a prisoner of war, but in 1949 he was reunited with his family, and they started a new life in Germany. My father's family have lived in the southern part of Germany for generations as farmers. I'm born in the 50s and grew up in Bavaria. The first 6 years of my life I stayed with my mom's mother and father. I remember that time as the best time of my life. I felt safe, secure, and I felt loved, in spite of my mother not being with me all the time because she had to work as a chef in a restaurant. There was always good energy around my grandparents. They both believed in God and went to church. They believed in God and the Catholic religion. But they never made a big fuss about it. And they were a loving couple with respect for each other. They took time to talk and listen to each other. And I was a part of their life. My father came to visit occasionally when he had time. And I really, really loved when he came, because he came on the motorcycle and I got a motorcycle ride. When I was 6 years old, my mom and dad got married, and I moved with them to father's farm, where his mom and dad lived, and 8 of his brothers and sisters. Dad was the oldest of 8. My grandfather was a World War I veteran, and he walked with a cane. He couldn't work so much on the farm. My father's mother, she was the leader of the family. They too were Catholics, but on the opposite end of what I experienced the first 6 years. The following 12 years were a bit rough for me. My parents loved me, but the circumstances were not the best. I felt and heard the way my mother was treated by the family. She was the unwanted in the house. I still loved my dad, but he never really stood up for her. A period where I took my parents' life upon me. There was always children to play with, and they had brothers and sisters, so I was longing for a brother or a sister. So when I was 8 years old, I got a brother, and I loved to be a babysitter. But along came 4 girls more, and I was the perfect babysitter. I spent my holidays with my mom's parents. It sort of was, I was longing for the next school holiday to come along. I became shy and introvert living on the farm, but I had a rebellion inside of me. I wasn't a leader, nor was I bullied by others. I guess I was just a shy, rebellion me. As a teenager, I was involved in gymnastics, traditional folk dance, and daydreaming. I guess already then I dreamt the life I have now. From the age of 14 to 16, I went to a boarding school that was run by nuns. It was a good time at school. Again, it was religion, and school was a good time, but an eye-opening as well what religion concerns. Now I have distanced myself from church and religion, but I believe in God and the universe. I remember having been to a hospital twice as a child. A hernia operation age 5, appendicitis operation around age 15, and then I went through a drowning accident when I was 12 or 13 years old. Perhaps before I turned 10 years old, I had often a stomach ache. When I was 19, I had the chance to go on an agricultural exchange program to Canada for 6 months. I went to Canada. I only returned to get my immigration visa. I was to become a Canadian. First working with the bee business, then working as a teacher's aide in a kindergarten class, and my plan was to become a nurse and stay in Canada. It was a fantastic time. I met a lot of different people, traveled, and had a good time. 5 years later, I met my husband Jens, the great farming Dane. He was on his trip around the world. And I dropped everything about becoming a nurse or becoming a Canadian. So I visited him on his father's farm, and I decided to leave Canada and return to Europe. We got married, and this year we have been married for 40 years. Where did the time go? We have started on our next 40 years, and I think with QHS we are going to stay healthy. We have 3 boys, aged 30 to 39. Two of them live in the area, one lives in England. And we are so lucky to have 2 healthy grandchildren, aged 9 and 11. After the firstborn, I went back to school to become a physiotherapist. The first year of my career, I worked in the hospital, and the last 20 years, I worked at a school, a special ed school with disabled, wonderful children. At age 45, I felt something had to happen. I didn't feel totally happy, was not content with my life, and that I started to work with myself from the inside out. I became a Marian Rosen body worker. Rosen method is a process-oriented education. Layer after layer disappeared, like peeling an onion. The past had caught up with me. I made peace with my parents. I finally thanked them from the bottom of my heart, and I told them I loved them and I thanked them for my life. After that, it was wonderful to come home to my parents and visit them. And today, they're both past 2020, but I have a really good relationship with all of my 5 sisters and brother. But peeling the onion has not stopped yet. There are still layers to look at. Life is beautiful. As older I get, as wiser I become. My mind and my soul are at ease, but my body keeps needing attention. I believe that the body is capable of healing itself, and I believe QHS will help. And here is a list of the things that happened in my adult life. Oh, the major problem are my knees. They're worn out. I don't need it, I don't wish a replacement, and I have not done so in 15 years. I stay as active as possible. I had 2 uterine prolapse and cystocele operations, not very successful. Age 60, I attended a blood pressure survey, was a bit on the high side, 140 over 85, and the doctor thought I should take medication, which I did for 4 years, and then I stopped, and I did it on my own. Weight has been a bit of a problem since I was pregnant first time. I spent many years dieting up and down the weight scale. Started to put on 30 kilos instead of 12 with the first pregnancy. Never lost it all, and the same procedure with the next and the next. I had 2 spontaneous abortions before and after child 1. At the age of 31, I had a varicose vein treatment, and there I lost 45 seconds of my life, and it was an ambulance treatment, and the doctor was more afraid than I was when I woke up again. In my 20s, I had often backache or bladder infections. So I don't need a knee replacement, yet my knee hurts and my legs feel heavy, and I often hear, "We are not getting better with age," and I think that's rubbish. Many interventions were the traditional medical approach, but as older I get, as more I look to a holistic approach. I enjoy life as a pensioner. We still live on the farm and grow our own vegetable. There is time to spend with the grandchildren and help the children. I like being a voluntary helper at the old folks' home for people with dementia. Would love to see them healed, every one of them. I don't really know what I can do for QHS in the future. Is there something to do for me? In spite of my pain from my knees, I'm on an upswing, not a downturn. I really wish that my knees could produce cartilage again. I wish to get rid of my varicose veins. Maybe my eyesight could be better. And perhaps the parodontosis in my gums could go away. And I am losing weight now again. Would be nice, it could stay down. What I wish for my post-QArc is a peaceful world, a world free of pain, 40 years more with my husband, and lots of other things. Thank you for listening.
Join us on the Prequel, where every story matters and every voice is heard. Because here at QHS, we're all about healing, learning, and growing together.